Hi everybody, my name is Philippe. I'm a huge fan of Barbra Streisand and I'm making a series of 12 videos in which I speak of the 12 best and most important Barbra Streisand albums to me. Out of the 60 plus albums that Barbra Streisand did, these are the albums that stand out to me, but also the ones that were a bit particular, that have a story. People may like other albums, and if you do and you write it down, I'm with pleasure I will discuss them with you. Today, this is one such album. It is classical Barbra, and what a Barbra, what a cover. My favorite album cover when I was a little kid. I got this album on my bar mitzvah. So believe me, I was happy for the bar mitzvah to be over so I could go home and listen to it. The pictures by Francesco Scavulo, she looks absolutely stunning. She would do her hair herself like that. She did braids when her hair was wet, and then overnight, and then took them out, and she had those curls. And then she cut the hair, and then it turned into that curly afro, which she wore for a couple of years. In this album, this is the 1976, so this is just before Star is Born. It is also during the rock era, and one of the critics who spoke of the forthcoming album said that it was, in his mind, an artistic suicide, meaning that any other artist than Barbra who would make such an album could have his career ended, because it's not a commercial album. And what a surprise it was, because it was a huge hit. It went over 1 million, it went a platinum, it sold extremely well, and it was reissued in 2013 on CD with 2 extra songs by Schubert, one of them being Auf dem Wasser zu singen, which she sang in Barbra Streisand and other musical instruments. I covered that album also, and so here she sings it without cutting. In the television show, she's in the middle, she says to the audience to sing along with Schubert, and then she says, yeah, wonderful, wonderful. She tells people that they're amazing, and then she tells everyone they're terrific. Here it's sung the way it should be sung. The other song is called To Sylvia, or For Sylvia. Beautiful, beautiful song. And so they were not on the original album. So the original album had 10 songs. The first one by Debussy, who wrote La Mer, the Sea. And if you know Debussy, or if you listen to Debussy, it sounds a lot like the kind of Barbra Streisand music that we know. The violins that you can barely tell they're violins. It just sounds like wind and air. And the album Lazy Afternoon, where Barbra Streisand sings Lazy Afternoon, the opening song, there's that kind of, when she says you can hear the grass as it grows, you hear, violins, but it's really grass growing. And so it's a very Debussy-like way of listening to music and of orchestrating. And so I'm not surprised that she chose that to open. She sings Beau Soir, which means beautiful night, and it is absolutely beautiful. And here you realize that Barbra Streisand, yes, she is titled, slated here as the soprano. It says soprano Barbra Streisand, and Ogerman, the musical conductor. So she really sings with this voice. Now, at the same time, it's a Barbra Streisand voice. She's not trying to sing like an opera singer. She's not trying to be Mariah Callas. She's Barbra. But you can tell that it's very enjoyable for her and very easy. Now, on the back of the album, you have a little liner note. It's Barbra Streisand's natural ability to make music takes her over to the classical field with extraordinary ease. It's clear that she loves these songs. In her sensitive, straightforward, and enormously appealing performance, she has given us a very special musical experience, and it's signed Leonard Bernstein. So he knows what he's talking about. And I think that really describes the way she goes into this music. She's not afraid. Why would she be afraid? She's Barbra Streisand. But she just goes, there's no restraint, there's no fear, and she just sings it, and sometimes it's some parts you will think, wow, it's very modern, because that's the voice that Barbra Streisand has. She has a very modern voice. It's even when she sang in the 60s, her first albums, there's something modern. I could go on and on, but I make these videos 10 minutes. She goes on with Joseph Canteloup, who's also a French composer, and she sings Brezairola, which means berceuse, which is a song for children to make them fall asleep. And it's Chanson de l'Auvergne. L'Auvergne is a region in France. Then she goes on to Gabrielle Fauré, French again, Cocorico, I'm French. And she sings Pavane, which is vocalise, so it's just her going, and you hear how beautiful her voice is, and she's just going along with the beautiful orchestration, and it's just fabulous. And then Après un rêve, After a Dream, beautiful as well. Then we go on to something unbelievable. It's Karl Orff's Intrutina from the Carmina Burana. Very strange and incredible opera. A lot of people know the opening, which is O Fortuna, which is sung with a huge chorus, and it's very, very strong, very powerful. She sings the second or third piece in the opera, which is Intrutina, sung originally by a castrat, which is a young boy who has a very, very high-pitched voice. And my partner came into the house one day. I was listening to Intrutina, the opera, nothing with Streisand. And he walked in and he said, "Oh, you're listening to Barbra Streisand?" And I said, "Nope." And he said, "Yes, you are. It's Evergreen from A Star Is Born." And he had no idea Barbra Streisand had sung Intrutina or had any knowledge of it. And he works in music. And so he made me listen to this part. And if you listen to it, you can tell that that's where she got her inspiration. Of course, she just loves it. It has nothing to do, it's not a copy at all. But when you hear in Intrutina, when it says, na 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 na, and when you hear Barbra Streisand sing "Seldom Seen by Two," it sounds very close. And so it's not the music that's copied, it's just the construction of the song. And of course, I'm not surprised, because Evergreen is a masterpiece and Intrutina is a masterpiece, so of course they work together. And that's a magnificent song, my favorite in the album. I don't know what Barbra Archive's favorite song is on that album. I have to check, because I always like to hear what experts on Streisand, what they like, and they choose one song of each of her albums. You must really go to that channel. It's really fantastic. Then she goes into Handel Lasciaci Piangere, which means let me be sad, let me. From Schumann, Mondnacht, which means moon night in German. Again, Thanks to the Lord by Handel. That's the one that I was missing. Before closing with Augerman, I Loved You. Now Klaus Augerman is the conductor on the album, and so she sings one of his pieces, which is classical, but it's also the most modern piece, because of course he was alive then. So an incredible work, a work of art, a classical album in every sense of the word, and again, genius. And look at how beautiful she is. So you must give this a listen, and tell me what you think. Bye. I'll be back with a new album soon.